Now moving to public participation, we'll start this morning with a public participation item from Genevieve Robinson regarding construction at Littleton Port and Hector's Dolphins. So, Genevieve, if you'd like to come forward to the table, please. Thank you for joining us this morning. You're very welcome. You've got 5 minutes to present to us this morning. Thank you.
Are they all on?
Yep, if the green light's on the microphone, it's working.
Right. I believe LPC has not done due diligence in investigating alternative construction methods or alternative wharf locations for this project. This is at Littleton. And that as the only shareholder, you have not demanded more transparent actions for the welfare of the endangered species. The Hector's dolphin is considered endangered at a national and international level. While their main threats surround fishing activities, construction activities also have been identified as another threat. Hectors are regularly recorded within the harbour area, with around 10 to 20 individuals there at any one time. Past studies, information you have, shows clear avoidance reactions to pile driving activity within the inner harbour. Professor Stephen Dawson of Otago University is an underwater acoustics and Hector's dolphin biology expert. He holds several recordings of dolphins as close as 370 metres from recent LPC-based piling sources. This shows a decrease in the rate of dolphin echolocation. Detections was evident on days with piling compared to days without. The dolphins are displaced into areas of the harbour, thereby putting them more at risk of other threats. The pile driving noise levels could cause temporary hearing damage to hectors if they remain at close range to wharf construction. Marine scientist Dr. Elizabeth Sluton considers the current self-regulated threshold of 146 decibels used by LPC for their current land-based piling very loud and causes hearing damage. As an absolute minimum requirement, LPC should be constantly measuring noise levels, not making assumptions that the piling will be under that level. Throughout pile driving operations of 2015 and 16, Littleton Port Company used marine mammal observers to monitor the area surrounding pile driving. You have a graph there showing pile driving activities. LPC says they will do this again for the new berth design. However, there is no indication at what stage of the piling this monitoring will commence. There is a different standard of care being applied to this particular project, which puts the port recovery plan under scrutiny. Firstly, using marine mammal observing program alone has little ability to effectively protect dolphins, and virtually none from behavioural impacts. As for each dolphin spotted above the water, another lies below. This is fact. During previous wharf construction, using rammed piles, Hector's sightings were recorded within 300 metres shutdown zone during pile driving. LPC project director Jared Peterson advised that on the 27th of July, he still had no idea who the trained mammal observers would be and who would be training them, though he did believe that Cawthron would be initiating this at some stage. He believes there is no urgency in obtaining relevant documents for peer review or opinion, and that observers would only be used during sea-based piling. Currently, more than 330 land-based piles have been rammed into rocks at the entrance of the inner harbour, and I use land-based very lightly. Once again, a photograph I took on Monday. As you can see from the photograph, the piles are exceptionally close to water level, offering basically no land between piling and water itself. Mr. Peterson also advised that noise levels of the current land-based piling were below their self-imposed threshold of 146 decibels, but was unable to accurately tell me what level. As New Zealand has no underwater noise regulations except for the voluntary Code of Seismic Surveys, LPC is applying its own untested data in an environment that needs special attention. Last year, LPC contracted Cawthron to conduct an assessment of the effects of marine mammals for Littleton Port Company's Channel Deepening Project, authored by Deanna Clement. Within assessment, the Hector's Dolphin Peninsula population is listed between 2,000 and 6,000 individuals. Well, research published by scientists, published in scientific journals by Otago University, indicates a more realistic population of 1,000. That's slightly different. With such inflated information informing port risk management, there can be little confidence of impact and mitigation accuracy. Therefore, the real issue we need to consider here is the noise pollutant itself, the pile driving, and the piles itself. Dawson and Lunison offer the only research and recordings offered by rammed piling noise pollution in the area. During previous consent process last year, marine scientist Eva Lunison approached Piletech's Mike Abbott for advice on using screw piles. Although the original piles were 1,200 mils and the pile driver technology was not available in New Zealand, Mr. Abbott did say screw piles would be viable if smaller. Well, this brings us to the new berth design. James Wood, also of Piletech, offers conflicting information. He said that while screw piling would be quieter, engineering viability in this situation was the issue.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of the 5 minutes. I will give you a little, a small amount of time just to finish up. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry,
that's fine.
Try. Thank you very much. I have requested all relevant information from LPC 14 days ago. I've also done a Lagoima. I have no information on the design, the pile loadings, the calculations, or geotech information I've requested. A civil engineer with 50 years experience in wharf design has requested this information and is going to do a peer review for me for free. However, without this information, I am unable to advance this further. It's not up to me or others to conduct this vital research. It's up to LPC and it's up to you guys as shareholders. By manipulating this design to fit within the scope of the port recovery plan, I'm sorry, but LPC is avoiding proper scrutiny of its plans and actions. We ask for transparency, expert advice, peer review, marine mammal observers now, not in 2 months' time. We also ask for safety and risk procedures in place and the postponement of piling if necessary until next winter. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much indeed for the presentation. Now there are a number of documents that have been uploaded to the hub for councillors. Yes. So we've heard the presentation this morning. We've got a number of supporting documents that are available and have been available for councillors.
This morning I've just been handed this from LPC.
Yeah, which is their Q&A document.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I haven't
also
seen it prior to now.
Yeah, that's also been uploaded for councillors as well.
I do want to say one comment though, based on something here. Diana Clement is unpublished in her research. I'm sorry, you don't get any credibility unless you're published in a scientific journal.
All right, so
that's all I have to say.
I note that comment.
Yeah.
I also want to acknowledge the letter from World Animal Protection, which has also been circulated. Yeah. I think the most sensible thing to do with the information that you've provided us this morning, the written information and what we've heard verbally this morning, we've got Paul Munro, the Chief Executive of CCHL, who's actually in the public gallery at the moment, and I'd like to refer the matters that you've raised to Paul, yes, so that he can refer those on to LPC, and so that we can get some information back from LPC addressing the issues that you've raised, and obviously that's something that would then be considered by councillors, but it would allow us to get the information back from the port addressing the matters that you've raised. There's some new information that you've raised in the verbal presentation that it certainly would be good. You know, we need a level of confidence around these things, and I think to refer to CCHL so that we can get that level of confidence back from LPC or ask further questions as we need is the way to go.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much indeed for taking the time to present to us this morning. Thank you. So apparently we've got Yanni Johansson, who has joined us this morning by AV Link. Yanni, good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
All right, and welcome to the meeting. Great. So moving on to our second item of public participation this morning, We have got the Selwyn House School problem solving team. Now this item will take the form of a presentation from that team, and then I've got some certificates to present once the presentation has occurred. So we've got a 5-minute presentation first, and then I'll be very pleased to present some certificates following on from that. So if the students would like to come up to the front. Thank you. Pauline, yeah, did you want to make some introductory comments? Now you've arranged all of this, haven't you?
I'd love to make some comments and welcome the girls here today. They've been to our Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee and told us all about their amazing project. But these girls were the New Zealand Future Problem Solving winners, and they went on to compete in the International Future Problem Solving competition in Wisconsin and were placed third. So third in the world, and I think this is really worthy of a big celebration. And the title of their problem was, or is, Let's Bike Christchurch. And it involves a unique promotion idea, which they pitched to our committee earlier this year, and they'll talk to us about it today. We absolutely loved it, and we've expressed a strong desire for the City Council to work with them in any way that we can to get this project up and running. So without further ado, let's hear from the girls themselves.
All right, so you've got 5 minutes to present to us, and then we'll present the certificates. So yeah, welcome, and we're certainly looking forward to hearing from you this morning.
Hi everyone, we're the Let's Bike Christchurch team from Selwyn House School, and we're here to tell you about our project.
I'm Bonnie. I'm Cleo. I'm Alice. I'm Kate. I'm Lucy. I'm Phoebe.
I'm Sophie. And I'm Mia.
And I'm Reid. At Selwyn House School in Year 8 and Year 7, you can choose to do community problem solving. We are all in community problem solving. Community problem solving is when you find a problem in the community and solve it. We are all very passionate about cycling, so we did some research and found out that the Christchurch cycle lanes aren't being used as much as the Christchurch City Council wanted them to be.
We want to increase the usage of the cycle lanes in Christchurch. We will deploy 16 Let's Bike Christchurch signs that look like this in local cafes and cycleways. Once you find your bike, you can take a picture with it and upload it to social media using the hashtag Let's Bike Christchurch.
We wanted to get an aspect of the community involved with our project, so we decided to contact local schools around the cycle lanes to decorate these bikes. They did a wonderful job with creating them, and we had a strict criteria that we wanted them to follow, and they all followed them very well. We also got asked back to Island School to speak in their assembly, and it was just a short presentation, and we really enjoyed doing that.
So last year we represented Selwyn House School in the Future Problem Solving National Competition in Auckland, and then this year we represented New Zealand in the Future Problem Solving International Conference and came out in 3rd place.
We have also been working on designing a website using Squarespace. The website will include information about our project and why we decided to do it, our promotional and PSA videos, a link to the Christchurch City Council, and of course how to get involved with our project. The website is still a work in progress, but it will be ready for the launch event in September, and also a big thanks to Kate Spence, who is now helping us with the website.
We have also created a PSA, a public service announcement video, with the help of our IT technician Jimmy. This video will help to promote our idea and give people a good idea of what we want to achieve.
On behalf of the Let's Bike Christchurch team, I want to say a special thank you to Peter Hume and Brendan Bisley for all of the support and advice they have given us. We could have never got to America without them.
We would like to thank the ITE committee for all their help and support throughout this project. Now we will show you our PSA.
All right. While we're trying to get the video to work, Are there any questions that councillors might like to ask the Selwyn House team? No? Pauline?
My committee might like to ask them, but how many hours do you think you put into this project collectively? Any idea? I mean, has it been a really, really big job?
Yeah.
Like months.
Yeah, we can't really count.
We started the project we started the project mid last year, and we've kept it going even though 3 of us have gone off to high school and 2 separate schools. It's been difficult, but we've made it work.
Oh, well done, good on you. So you're doing any like weekend work and after school?
When we were preparing for internationals, we were having a couple of weekend meetings, but other than that, normally just school time.
Because we have a set time in school, which is this time today, and all like FPS and CNPS work on it, so that's really helpful for doing our project.
Great. Let's have a look at the video, which is now working.
Attention people of Christchurch! Did you know that an amazing new cycle network is under construction as part of the earthquake recovery program? Christchurch is now crisscrossed with dozens of kilometres of cycle lanes, shared paths and designated cycleways. We can now bike around Christchurch safely and quickly. How cool is that? But if that wasn't enough, we've got something that's sure to get you out and about on your bike. Selwyn House School is partnering with the Christchurch City Council to deploy 16 Let's Bike Christchurch signs all over Christchurch. So get on your bike, search for the Let's Bike Christchurch sign, then post a pic of yourself with the sign and upload it to social media using the hashtag Let's Bike Christchurch to win some awesome prizes. Come on Christchurch, get onto 2 wheels or 3, get cycling and get snapping.
So thanks for the excellent presentation this morning, and thanks for showing us that particularly excellent video as well. It's great stuff. So congratulations on the work that you've been doing promoting cycling in Christchurch, but also congratulations on winning the New Zealand stage of the Future Problem Solving competition, and also well done for being placed 3rd at the International Future Problem Solving competition in Wisconsin. I think that's a huge achievement by anybody's standards, so well done. That's great, and even better that you've come here to tell us all about it this morning. Your project's got the potential to have much broader benefits than just for yourselves and for the school. We're obviously creating the major cycleways network in Christchurch, and one of the reasons we're doing that is to make it safe for school students to get safely to and from school, but also there's a recreation benefit to having those cycleways there as well. So it's absolutely fantastic that you've come up with this project to encourage children and families and people in general to get out there and really use and enjoy the cycleways. And of course everything that you're doing is promoting the fact that the cycleways are there and encouraging people to use them. So what I've got now is some certificates that I'd like to present to you to really recognise the great achievement that you've got here. So we'll present the certificates. I'll invite you to come forward one at a time, and then there'll be an opportunity for a group photograph at the end if that's what you'd like to do. All right. All right, so I'll call you up one at a time. Do we need this microphone? Oh, for the live stream, okay. Okay, so I'd like to call you off one at a time. So first of all, Cleo McLeod. next, Sophie Hodgson. And next, Lucy Maynard. Maya Halstong. Reid McHugh. Alice Hunter. Bonnie Smith. Phoebe Donald. Last of the students, but certainly not least, Kate Gourley. And then we've got a certificate for the teacher as well, Adele Staples, if you'd like to come forward.
That's perfect. We want to make sure we can get our award in at the back too, the cycleways, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so that ends the public participation section of the meeting. We've got one deputation still to come. But before we... we'll move to the deputation next. So I'd like to invite Ron McCandlish to the table, please. So Ron, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We've got a paper on the agenda that what you're presenting potentially relates to. So we're treating this as a deputation to the meeting. That means you've got 10 minutes, but that would include time that you might want to leave for any questions. So a maximum of 10 minutes, including questions. Clearly, we've got some literature which has just been distributed now. So you have 10 minutes to present to us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to talk to you about the vexed question of chlorine in the water supply. My name's Ron McCandless. I'm the CEO of a company that has American technology that offers a far better alternative to treating water than chlorine. And I have a folder here with a few items in it, which I'll go through. The very first item is a picture of the World War II War Memorial at Washington DC, which is a massive presentation with over 400,000 gallons of water in the form of reflection pools and fountains. It is entirely treated by this descalomatic system and is maintained since 2004 in sparkling condition. The second picture is in the machinery room for the War Memorial, and it shows two 800 gallon per minute descalomatic water treatment, and also on the wall there are two copper silver ionisation units that are used to disinfect the water. The third photo is of an installation in Taiwan, showing that there's quite a bit of flexibility with this system. There's actually three 200 gallon a minute units there in tandem working into a manifold, and the same can be done with the copper silver ionisers. They can be scaled for any amount of water flow. The next piece of paper is from a company called Carefree Clearwater Limited, who actually manufacture copper silver ionisation systems. They were actually licensed to do this by NASA. This system was invented by NASA to treat water for Apollo astronauts, and it's actually still used today in the International Space Station. So it's got to be good, because there's no taps up there. In here there's a very brief summary. The copper, silver and zinc ions are cationic and surface active and extremely potent biocide. The positively charged ions form electrostatic bonds with the negatively charged sites on the microorganism cell walls, distorting permeability and preventing the proper intake of nutrients. This, coupled with protein denaturization, causes cell lysis and death. Bacteria are killed rather than merely suppressed. Ions provide residual protection and prevention of any recontamination. Also, ionisation is 100% effective in all water temperatures, prevents corrosion in all types of piping, is an excellent biofilm penetration with extremely low residual effects, and is effective throughout the entire system of plumbing, including low flow areas. This is in addition to the environmental safety, automation and economic benefits documented and proven over the last 2 decades. This is not new, this is well-proven technology. Then there is some notes and quotes from some professional papers. The one in particular here, which is extremely powerful, it's experience of the first 16 hospitals using copper silver ionisation for Legionella control, and implications for the evaluation of other disinfection modalities. This is a world recognised paper written by Janity Stout, who's a PhD, and Victor L.U., who is a medical doctor. I've highlighted some points in here. I won't go over the whole thing, but the conclusions from this study, it represents the final step in a proposed 4-step evaluation process for disinfection systems that includes demonstrated efficacy of Legionella eradication, anecdotal experiences in preventing Legionnaire's disease in individual hospitals, controlled studies in individual hospitals, and validation and confirmatory reports from multiple hospitals during a prolonged period of time, between 5 and 11 years. Copper silver ionisation is now the only disinfection modality to have fulfilled all 4 evaluation criteria. Of the 16 hospitals responded to the questionnaire, the hospitals were in 8 different states. The mean number of beds was 435, these are not small hospitals, and 56% of them performed transplant surgery. All of the 16 hospitals originally surveyed in 1995 responded to the follow-up survey in 2000. All were still using copper-silver ionisation for Legionella disinfection. The duration of system operation ranged from 5 to 11 years, with a mean of 7 years. 94%, 15 out of the 16, continued to perform routine environmental monitoring for Legionella at various intervals. Testing was performed quarterly in 4 of the hospitals, every 6 months in 4 of the hospitals, or annually in 3 of the hospitals. The emphasis here on Legionella is that Legionella is like the canary in the coal mine as far as pathogens in potable water are concerned. On page 3, no cases of hospital-acquired Legionnaire's disease were diagnosed after the installation of the copper-silver ionisation system in 94% of 15 out of the 16 of the hospitals. One hospital did report a case of hospital-acquired Legionnaire's disease soon after installation, basically before the system had settled down. Now, discussion. Disinfection and modalities currently in use for Legionella control in hospital water distribution systems include copper-silver ionisation, thermal eradication, which is superheat and flush, and hyperchlorination. Hyperchlorination has proven disappointing as a long-term solution due to the high expense, the pipe corrosion, the introduction of carcinogenic byproducts into the drinking water, and difficulty in maintaining a high concentration, 2 to 4 parts per million of chlorine, needed to sustain efficacy. In the past few years, carcinogenic byproducts from chlorination and increases in birth defects and spontaneous abortion have raised concerns from federal agencies and consumer interest groups. A meta-analysis of 10 case control studies and 2 cohort studies concluded that the risk of cancer from the consumption of chlorinated water was significant. Spontaneous abortions have also been linked to the consumption of chlorinated water. Although ozonation, instantaneous heating systems and ultraviolet light were conceptually attractive solutions in field trials, failures have outweighed successes. Moreover, no controlled studies of 5 years or longer have been reported for any of the 3 methods. Controlled studies have supported the biologically plausible concept that the single most important factor in decreasing the incidence of hospital-acquired Legionella disease is the eradication of the reservoir for this microorganism. The uniform finding of disappearance of hospital-acquired Legionnaire's disease in 16 diverse hospitals catering to different patient populations in different geographic areas confirms the primary importance of the reservoir in the causation of Legionnaire's disease. In fact, there were no cases of hospital-acquired Legionnaire's disease during the 4 years from 1999 to 2002. 75%, or 12 of the 16 of the surveyed hospitals, reported the failure of previous attempts to control Legionella by other methods.
Now that brings us to the end of the 10 minutes, so if I can ask you just to quickly wrap up, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. The file also contains, there's another paper here from American Society of Healthcare Engineers, confirming what we've just learned. There's a very good table there looking at all the different forms of disinfection of water. Once again, copper silver ionisation is very highly regarded, and hyperchlorination is not a good look, to say the least. The other papers in here are from large American companies that are independent of those papers I've just quoted. They have worked with descalamatic for decades and have found the water treatment systems to be absolutely first class. They do what they're supposed to do.
All right. Thank you very much indeed for providing this information and for taking the time to present to us this morning. Unfortunately, that doesn't allow time for questions, but what I am going to do is to bring the water paper that's on our agenda up the agenda so that we discuss that next. We've got the literature that you've provided. Thanks very much indeed for taking the time to present this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.